Have you ever noticed that a woman you're dating slowly stops respecting you, but you can't quite put your finger on when it started? It's a gut-wrenching feeling. And here's the cold, hard truth. Women don't just accidentally walk all over men. They only do it when a man fails to set clear boundaries early enough to stop it. Welcome back to Secrets Inside the Mind. If you're finding this helpful already, go ahead and smash that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button to join our community. In those first few stages of dating, there are 5 specific boundaries that decide everything. They determine if she sees you as a high-value man she respects, or just someone she can take for granted. If you miss even one of these, you're going to spend months feeling confused and overgiving, wondering why the dynamic suddenly flipped. But wait, before you think this is about being mean, listen closely. This isn't about playing mind games or trying to control anyone. It's about spotting the exact moments where men unknowingly give away all their leverage. We want to stop that before her attraction turns into mere tolerance. If you don't get a handle on these 5 boundaries early on, you won't just lose her respect, you'll actually lose yourself while trying to win it back. Most dating advice out there tells you how to react when things go wrong. But today, we're talking about how to position yourself so you never have to react at all. It's not about how much charisma you have. It's about the structure you build. Boundaries create that structure, and structure is what decides who leads the relationship and who just follows along. If you're ready to stop guessing and start understanding how this works, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss the next part. Once you see how these dynamics actually form, you'll stop chasing outcomes and start controlling your own position. And that shift starts with the very first boundary that almost every man ignores. Let's get into it. Number 1. Never open up your financial life before she's truly earned that place. A lot of guys confuse sharing information with building a real bond. You might think that talking about your money is just a normal, relaxed conversation. You feel like you're being honest, transparent, and authentic. But that is not how it feels to her. Here is where it gets dangerous. To a woman, hearing about your money early on isn't a sign of intimacy. It's raw data. The second you start talking about your salary, your investments, or how much your car cost, something subtle but permanent happens. You stop being a man she's curious to discover, and you become a man she's starting to measure. She isn't looking at your heart. She's looking at your utility. This is what I call the provider audition. Think about it, she hasn't chosen you yet. She hasn't committed her heart or invested her time. Yet, there you are, standing on a stage, trying to prove how useful you can be. The scariest part is that most men don't even realize they're doing it. You might mention a year-end bonus or joke about how much you've managed to save. You think it's just small talk, but in her mind, a quiet calculation is happening. She's looking at your stability, your capacity, and her potential access to those resources. From that point forward, attraction stops being about who you are and starts being about what you have. This is a truth most guys hate to hear. Once a woman starts evaluating your bank account, she stops feeling a real connection to you. Curiosity dies and turns into cold calculation. The tension disappears and is replaced by expectation. And get this, she doesn't even have to ask you for a dime for this to happen. All she has to do is watch how easily you show it off. She sees how desperate you are to signal that you can provide, and how fast you use your money to prove your worth. Men do this because we're taught that being a provider is our only value. We think security makes us desirable. But in the early stages, showing off your resources doesn't create attraction, it actually replaces it. You're no longer the guy she wants. You're the guy she's seeing what she can get from. This boundary is vital, because once the frame changes, you can't get it back. You can't talk your way out of being evaluated. You can't just charm your way back into being a mystery once that door is closed. When she starts looking at your wallet instead of your eyes, the emotional spark dies. It's no longer about feelings, it's just a transaction. If you jump in too early to pay her bills or solve her money problems, something shifts that you can't easily fix. You aren't her partner anymore. You've just been downgraded to her personal support system. Many guys fall into this trap without even realizing it. When you say, "I've got this," Before there's a real commitment, you're signing up for the work of a husband without having the title or the respect. You're providing, but you don't actually have a solid position in her life. Once that dynamic sets in, it's like concrete. She might say she appreciates you, but appreciation isn't the same thing as desire. Gratitude doesn't make her want you. If you're finding this helpful, smash that like button real quick. This is exactly when the financial tests start creeping in. They aren't going to be obvious. She won't walk up and ask for cash. Instead, she'll just mention how stressed she is about a bill, or how her car is making a weird noise that's going to cost a fortune. She's not asking you directly. She's just watching. She's waiting to see how fast you move to rescue her. She wants to see if your boundaries will crumble the moment she puts a little pressure on you. Most guys fail this test because they think being generous makes them a leader. In reality, it just makes you predictable. And once you're predictable, you're easy to put into a box and use whenever she needs something. The right way to handle this doesn't involve a big speech or getting angry. You don't need to explain yourself or apologize for not paying. You just stay calm and stay grounded. You keep that door closed without having to slam it. You can be supportive with your words without getting tangled up in her bank account. But here's the crazy part. The reaction you get will tell you everything you need to know. A woman who is truly into you will respect that boundary immediately. It's not because she stopped testing you, but because she actually feels safer with a man who knows how to protect his own life and structure. On the flip side, a woman who only wanted what you could provide will get annoyed. She might pull away or act like she's losing interest. Don't see that as a loss. It's a filtration system. This boundary isn't meant to push good women away. It's meant to filter out the ones who were only there for the perks. Leadership begins where access is controlled. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss the rest of this series. Number 2. Never ever tolerate disrespect, especially when it's subtle. A lot of guys think disrespect has to be loud, like screaming or obvious insults. That's why they miss the stuff that actually ruins relationships. Real disrespect doesn't usually announce itself. It sneaks in quietly to see if you'll notice. It's when she cuts you off while you're talking and just keeps going. It's when she makes a joke at your expense and tells you to relax because she's just kidding. It's when she compares you to her ex, or ignores your texts but expects you to reply to her in seconds. None of these things feel big enough to start a fight over, and that's exactly why they are so dangerous. Now this is where it gets really interesting from a psychological point of view. This isn't her being mean. It's her evaluating you. She's asking a silent question. How much can I get away with? Women test boundaries the same way water finds cracks in a dam slowly, one little push at a time. If you don't push back, the pressure just keeps building. Think about this scenario, because most of us have been there. You're out with her and some friends. Someone asks how you two are doing, and she smirks and says, "Oh, he's great, as long as he's not being totally clueless." Everyone laughs, including her. You might even smile along to keep the peace, telling yourself it was just a harmless joke. But in that moment, she just lowered your status in front of everyone. Which part of this surprised you the most? Drop a comment below and let me know. Think about this. She didn't just insult you for a quick laugh. She was actually testing your backbone to see if you'd fold under pressure. See? These disrespect tests aren't really about the words she said. They're about whether you have the guts to stand up for yourself, or if you'll just sit there and take it. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, go ahead and smash that like button. When you let a comment like that slide, you aren't being chill or easygoing. You're actually telling her that your self-respect is negotiable and that you care more about avoiding a little awkwardness than you do about your own boundaries. Once a woman realizes she can walk over you without any trouble, she's going to keep doing it. It's not because she's mean, it's just that you've shown her that the line doesn't exist. A lot of guys think staying quiet makes them look calm and mature. But that's a huge mistake. In reality, being quiet isn't being cool. It's giving her your permission. You're literally telling her it's okay to keep treating you that way. But here's the crazy part that most guys completely miss. When you don't address disrespect, you aren't just letting one moment pass. You're setting a pattern for the whole relationship, and those patterns build up over time. One small pass leads to another, and before you know it, the whole vibe has shifted so much that fixing it feels impossible. There's a chain reaction here that you probably didn't see coming. When she disrespects you in public, and you just take it, her friends are watching. They don't think you're a nice guy. They see you as a man who won't stand up for himself. First, their opinion of you drops, and then hers follows. Once she sees that you'll let yourself be made to look small in front of other people, she learns she can do it when you're alone too. The tone changes, the effort she puts in disappears, and the attraction fades away. It's a permanent shift. Now, this is where it gets interesting because high-value men don't handle this with anger or sarcasm. They don't try to embarrass her back or start a huge scene. Instead, they handle it right then and there, calmly and directly. They use one short sentence with no attitude and no long explanation. It's just a clear line drawn in the sand. That kind of response is incredibly powerful because it resets the whole situation. It shows her, and everyone else in the room, that you respect yourself enough to stop the disrespect the second it starts. This isn't about being a control freak. It's about having standards, because respect isn't something you win by being patient or staying quiet. Respect has to be enforced. If you want to keep learning how to handle these situations, hit subscribe and tap that bell so you never miss a video. Number 3. Never make your time completely free just because you really like her. This is the exact spot where most guys ruin things before the relationship even gets off the ground. You might think that being available all the time shows her how much you like her. You think saying yes instantly makes you look excited. You might even start moving your whole life around just to see her. But from her perspective, it looks totally different. When a man is always free, it doesn't look like he's interested. It looks like he doesn't have anything going on. Women don't just look at you. They look at the life you've built around yourself. Wait until you hear how this pattern actually plays out in a real relationship. You meet a girl you're really into. The chemistry is great, and you don't want to lose the spark. So, you start doing something small, but totally destructive. You cancel plans with your friends. You skip your gym sessions. You keep your schedule wide open just in case she decides to text you. Your life stops being something you lead and starts being something that reacts to her. You aren't doing it to be irresponsible. You're just scared of losing the spark. But that fear is exactly what she picks up on. From a mental level, she isn't just wondering if you like her. She's wondering if you have a life that's strong enough to hold her without falling apart. When your time is treated like an all-you-can-eat buffet, she doesn't feel special or chosen. Which part of this schedule trap have you fallen into before? Drop a comment and let me know. Think about it. When she feels like she's more important than everything else in your world, her attraction actually starts to drop. It sounds backwards, right? Most guys worry that if they aren't always around, they'll lose her. But honestly, it's the lack of structure that really pushes women away. If you're the kind of guy who drops everything the second she calls, you don't look like a devoted partner. You look like you have no anchor. Women don't trust a man who isn't grounded by something bigger than a relationship. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about guarding your foundation. When your time loses its value, you lose your value too. A man who treats his hours like gold is always in demand. It's not because he's playing games, but because his life has a clear direction before she even arrives. By protecting your schedule, she stops seeing you as someone she can just summon and starts seeing you as a man she has to meet halfway. But here's the crazy part: most guys think saying no kills the momentum. In reality, it actually makes things way more exciting. When you don't jump every single time she reaches out, you're showing her that you have self-control. And self-control is one of the strongest signs of maturity. Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Maybe she sends a late-night text or wants to hang out spontaneously, but you've got a busy morning or a gym session planned. The low-value move is to cancel your plans and run over, hoping it proves your interest. The grounded move is simple. Stay calm. No long explanations. Just acknowledge her without moving your whole life around for an impulse. This proves your time is valuable and makes the time you do give her feel intentional, not just convenient. If you're enjoying these tips so far, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Now, this is where it gets interesting. There's a huge difference between being busy and having a purpose. Just being busy isn't attractive, but having a mission? That's magnetic. A man with a real purpose doesn't need to fake being unavailable. His schedule is a reflection of his priorities. His life has its own speed, and women feel that difference immediately. When you protect your time, attraction has room to grow. If you're always available, that attraction just suffocates. You don't win by being there every second. You win by being consistent and grounded in your own world. Number 4. Never become her emotional dumping ground before she commits. This is a dangerous trap because it disguises itself as a deep connection. She starts opening up early about her ex, her past trauma, or family drama. She might cry on the phone and tell you she's never felt so understood. You think this means something special, but you won't believe what's actually happening. Emotional dumping isn't intimacy, it's recruitment. She's testing how much emotional labor you're willing to do before she gives you anything real in return. Most guys volunteer for this without realizing the cost. You spend hours listening and absorbing her weight. You become her safe place. And slowly, the frame shifts. You're no longer the man she desires. You're the man she uses to stabilize herself. Here is the part that hurts. Guys, mistake this emotional access for a bond. They think she trusts them, but trust without her investment doesn't build attraction. It just makes you useful. Wait until you hear this. She leans on you for support, then takes all her excitement and curiosity and gives it to someone else. It's not because you did something wrong, but because you acted like a therapist instead of a partner. The moment you become her emotional container too early, the romantic spark dies. Mystery fades. Tension dissolves, and the desire just falls flat. You can't argue your way out of that spot either. Once you're labeled as the safe guy, that image sticks. If you're enjoying this, smash that like button real quick. This isn't about being cold. It's about pacing the intimacy. When you carry her emotional weight before she's even chosen you, you're giving away your best leverage. Emotional closeness is powerful, but only when it's mutual and earned. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Think of emotional intimacy like currency. Like money, it loses value if you hand it out without any investment. Here is the big secret most men never learn. You can be present without being responsible for her feelings. You can listen without carrying her baggage. You can care without drowning in her world. Being empathetic isn't the mistake. Overextending yourself is. When you rush to fix her pain or stabilize her emotions before there is a commitment, you break the natural way people bond. She doesn't grow closer to the guy who carries her. She grows closer to the man she has to invest in. That is how real emotional attachment is formed. Healthy pacing looks different. You listen and stay grounded, but you don't jump into fix-it mode. You don't become her late-night crisis line. You don't let her emotional storms dictate your identity or your schedule. Keeping this boundary is what protects the romantic tension. Attraction lives when there's space and mutual effort. It dies when one person becomes the anchor while the other drifts around. If you want to master these dynamics, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss our next video. Many guys think pulling back emotionally makes them seem mean, but it actually makes the connection cleaner. It invites her to step up and move toward you emotionally instead of just leaning back on you. But here's the crazy part. A woman bonds with the man she puts effort into, not the one who handles her problems for free. When she has to show up and contribute, her attraction deepens naturally. This boundary doesn't stop intimacy, it saves it. Intimacy that isn't earned doesn't build desire, it just builds dependence. And dependence is the total opposite of attraction. Which part of this is surprising you the most? Drop a comment below and let me know. Number 5. Never panic when she pulls back. This is the moment where most men ruin all the progress they made before. Things were going great, the vibe was right, and the connection felt real. Then, suddenly, the energy shifts. Her texts slow down. The warmth disappears. Instead of staying calm, you start to panic. That panic is a reflex, but it's dangerous. You feel the distance and assume you did something wrong. You wonder if she's stressed or if you said the wrong thing. Without even realizing it, you start doing the one thing guaranteed to kill the mood. You try way harder while she does way less. This usually happens in 3 predictable ways. First, you try to fill the silence. She creates space, and you rush in to close it. You send more messages, you reply faster, and you do extra check-ins. What you're actually saying is, "I'm not comfortable without your attention." Second, you try to over-reassure her. You make yourself available 24/7. You let her know you're always there for anything she needs whenever she needs it. Every single word you say is quietly screaming that you're afraid. You're afraid of losing her, and you're worried that the connection is just slipping away. But wait until you hear why trying harder is actually the worst thing you can do. If you're finding this helpful so far, go ahead and smash that like button. Third on the list is overcompensating. This is when you start planning more dates, giving more compliments, and trying to give her more of everything. You're basically turning up the volume, hoping that if you just put in more effort, you can fix the distance she's created. But attraction doesn't work like a normal job, where more effort equals more results. From a power dynamic view, the very second you work harder because she's pulling away, the balance is totally broken. She holds all the cards, and you're just the one chasing. Once that imbalance is locked in, the desire just suffocates. A woman can't miss a man who is constantly standing in her face trying to close every little gap. She can only miss someone who actually has the space to disappear for a moment. Now, here's where it gets interesting. But before we go further, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss these deep dives into high-value behavior. You see, when a woman pulls back, it isn't always a test or a game. Sometimes it's just her getting clarity on how she feels. Other times, it might be her interest fading out, or maybe she's just busy with life. But when you panic, you turn every single possibility into the same bad outcome. You lose your upper hand, you lose the attraction, and you lose your own self-respect. Attraction never comes back because you decided to try harder. It only returns when there is a real sense of absence. This is the big secret that most men fight against, because it feels so backwards. You were probably taught that effort fixes every problem, that being persistent proves you're valuable, and that if you just show up more, the love will stabilize. But here's the crazy part. Romantic attraction doesn't respond to your hard work. It responds to space. When you stop rewarding her distance with even more of your attention, one of 2 things happens. And honestly, both of them work out in your favor. If she is actually interested in you, she's going to adjust. She will notice that you aren't there as much. The balance fixes itself, because her effort has to rise to meet yours. The consistency comes back, not because you chased her down, but because you gave her the room to realize she wanted to be there. But if she doesn't come back, then you finally know the truth. Your boundary didn't cause you to lose her. It just showed you she was already gone much faster than if you had kept chasing. This is exactly where guys get stuck emotionally. They keep thinking, if I pull back, I'm going to lose her forever. What they don't see is that they were already losing themselves while trying so hard to keep her close. You must never reward distance with more effort. Giving effort when she withdraws just trains her that there's an imbalance. It teaches her that she can invest less while you invest more. Once she learns that lesson, the attraction almost never recovers. Absence does something that effort can never achieve. It brings back the spark and puts the control back on your side of the fence. It reminds her that having access to you is a privilege, not a guarantee. And if she chooses not to step forward when that space is created, then you didn't lose a woman who truly wanted you. You just stopped chasing an illusion that required you to abandon your own grounding. That is the quiet power of setting this boundary. It doesn't manipulate people. It clarifies the situation. You didn't lose her. You just stopped chasing something that was never fully yours to begin with. Which of these points surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below. What you've just learned isn't just a handful of dating tips. It's a complete system. 5 boundaries, 1 framework, and 1 purpose. Protecting your value before someone else gets to decide what it's worth. These boundaries aren't about trying to control women or being manipulative. And they definitely aren't about acting cold or disconnected. They exist for one reason only: to keep you from losing yourself while you're trying to keep someone else. When you control your money, you protect your leverage. When you shut down disrespect, you protect your dignity. When you guard your time, you protect your life's direction. When you pace the intimacy, you protect the spark. And when you stop chasing, you protect your self-respect. Together, they form a filter. Women who are naturally drawn to structure, strength, and self-control will actually feel much safer when they are with you. Girls who only liked you when you were giving too much, always free, and trying too hard will slowly fade away. But don't mistake that for being lonely. That is just pure clarity. Having limits does not make you hard to love. Instead, it lets the right partner love the real you, without you having to shrink yourself to feel wanted. It makes sure that when she chooses you, she wants who you truly are, not the guy who destroys himself just to be accepted. But here is the crazy part. You do not get strong by asking more from others. You get strong by expecting more from yourself. If this clicked with you, do not keep it to yourself. Hit subscribe and join us. This place is for guys who are done feeling drained and doubting their own worth. Like this video, share it with a brother who is giving too much for too little, and drop a comment below letting me know which rule hit you hardest. We are not here to comfort you. We are here to keep you from losing your soul.